Hello there, dear loving souls. Welcome back to this channel and to part 2 of today's video series, which is on the subject of time. As mentioned in part 1, I'm doing things slightly different because it's a spirit messages I've been getting over the last week or so to talk about the concept of time, but specifically the fact that it's such a great equalizer for humanity or for each individual amongst one another. You kind of can't have any competition when it comes to time because it's kind of an equal thing, right? It's an equalizer. You get 24 hours in a day. How do you choose to live your life during those 24 hours? Based on the cards that have come through for part 1, it's like, well, do you spend more time practicing love, doing things from your place of love, celebrating with a group of friends, spending more time with your loved ones, with your friends that bring you, feelings of happiness and joy at home. So it's an interesting subject, and I'm doing it slightly different because I'm led to do it like this today. And there's a lot that has already come through, and I sincerely suggest you watch part 1 if you haven't already. But for part 2, it's all about application of the universal laws and some practical tips commonly I use the Holy Trinity of love in my world, which is thinking love, speaking love, and doing love. In this context, it's all about, well, right, what messages can we get through in order to use the concept of time on planet Earth for our own betterment, make sure our give our best shot to use time to our advantage, to have a more fulfilling life, more joyous life. So a bunch of cards have already come through, and what I want to do is, for this part 2, I'm going to clarify each of the cards with one card from this deck. So here we go. I feel like this wants to come out. So we've got the 3. I'm going to put them all out and then we'll see what messages pop through. So for the 3 of Cups, it's clarified by the Magician. 6 of Pentacles is clarified by 4 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Wands is clarified by the Wheel of Fortune. The 2 of Wands is clarified by Judgment. So many major arcanas already. This is a significant topic. 8 of Pentacles is clarified by Death. Here we go, another major arcana. And the Justice, which is the major arcana itself, is clarified by the Daughter of Wands. Lovely. Alrighty, so let's have a look. What is it? I'm just gonna reflect. I might turn the hourglass, our representation of time, right, with the sand. So let's have a look. And we've got a variety of things. So I am drawn to talk about the card that's closest to me, which is the Justice, clarified by the Daughter of Wands. And the Daughter of Wands is equivalent to the Page of Wands. And we are, I'm instantly thinking youthful, baby, childlike energy. Oh, the number 8. Look at this. Sorry, I moved on. Number 8 is what's popping through, and the reason I said it is because the Justice card is sometimes represented as number 8 in certain decks. It's mostly 11. In this deck, it's number 11, but I have a little 8 here as well, just to sort of remind me that that's how it is. And so I think interesting that the number 8 came through quite clearly here. Daughter of Swords, the way the snake appears on this card around the wand. And for me, it's all about time. It's infinity, right? And I think this is a confirmation that the only major arcana that's come through from this deck has been clarified by the number 8, the infinity. We are spiritual beings having a human experience on planet Earth. Spiritual beings are eternal. We are eternal. Energy can't be created or destroyed, which means it's always existed, and so hence the eternity element of it, but also limitless time. As I mentioned earlier in part 1, strictly speaking, in a universal perspective, there is no such thing as time. It's a societal construct on planet Earth, and that's fine. It's good for us. It's a double-edged sword, but it's alright. For the most part, it's good for us. It helps us organize our society and community, right? But yeah, look at that strong number 8, though. Infinity, eternal, limitless, but also this truly no thing such as time. It actually reminds me of the hourglass. Look at that, the figure 8, right? And in this world, I guess, because we do have, time on planet Earth, we can measure it. And here's one tool that we do that with. Lovely. Excuse me. Look, I'll be back to it if something else pops through. And the next two up, we've got the Two of Wands clarified by the Judgment and the Eight of Pentacles clarified by the Death. Ooh. So if we talk about death, that's neutral, physical death. That's, you know, first message, right? And death is number 13, by the way. Transformation, so this is the 9th house astrologically as well, which is a sign of Scorpio. Some of you may know this already, but it's all about transformation. So what I just mentioned before about energy can't be created or destroyed, but it does have the ability to transform. And this is what I like about death, is that a certain death is actually a new beginning. You have to have completion before something new can begin, right? End of one chapter, beginning of the next chapter. And likewise with the physical death, yes, it's something that, you know, human beings experience here on planet Earth, but I think if you truly put your hand on your heart and you believe in reincarnations, and on this channel, yes, we do, we get to experience lifetime after lifetime on planet Earth if we choose to do so. And then the physical death, it's just that, it's the physical death of the physical body, the vehicle, the technology, but actually it's a transformation into a different state of being, which is releasing kind of the spiritual body that's within us all. And the spiritual body is, remember, eternal, never ending, it's always existed, it's always there. And I know, so it's clarifying the Eight of Pentacles, and I appreciate that. It's very hard to think about it from that perspective. It's harder to sometimes understand and conceptually or mentally those concepts that I've just mentioned. But another message that comes through is, and it's very specific, but it's like, don't spend your lifetime working yourself to death. Okay, because I appreciate that may have been, look, for some of you, you can do whatever you want, it's your freedom of choice, but I just feel like this is like, right, you can choose your whole lifetime to just work and work and work and do a lot of hard work, and then that results in your death. Eventually we all have an expiry date, but, you know, something for you to think about it, as to what extent do you get the happiness and the joy and the time spent with your family and friends and celebrating milestones, events, birthdays, other celebrations, whatever it might be. How many of those joyful moments do you have already in your life? And the other thing I always do is the deathbed test, right? If for some reason you imagine yourself in a moment you're effectively going to be, you know, taking your last breath, you're on your deathbed, reflecting back on your life during that 1 second, what are the things that pop up into your head? What are the memories that get, you know, would you reflect on? And what would you be proud of? Would you feel like you've achieved everything you wanted in this lifetime during the time of your life that you have had? And that's the deathbed test. You know, put yourself in that mind frame, state of mind. Question yourself and see what answers come through. You know, be honest and transparent with yourself. And if there's something you question yourself about, that and there's something that's not quite working out right, or you might be working yourself really hard, but it's not actually giving you joy and fulfillment, if that resonates with you, well, perhaps, you know, what we were talking about part 1, it's time to exercise the sword in your head. Use that as a tool, use your intelligence, use your mind to change things up in order to make sure that, you know, every time you complete the deathbed test for the rest of your life, you're actually satisfied and fulfilled and happy to be like, yep, I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm going to have a life that is, you know, full of love. Alrighty, and then we've got the Two of Wands, which is clarified by Judgment. Judgment is a card number 20, by the way, major arcana. It's sort of listening to your heart, your spirituality, rising above. You know, we've got the dove above these crows, you know, light above the dark, but also listening and like getting that call from high above, getting that call from up above, you know, the spirit world. So, you know, the archangels or angels might be blowing their trumpet and calling you up. That's the judgment, you know, like, as in there is something significant, something spiritually significant, and perhaps what I've just said about the deathbed test, you know, use that as a tool to your advantage. And I appreciate it may sound a little bit scary and a little bit morbid, I appreciate that, but that might be the kind of spiritual shock that you might have needed to hear in order to be able to reconfigure the way your life is, you know, what time means in your life, and what you do on a daily to weekly basis? And are you also, that's the other thing that's coming through, is are you in alignment? Do you feel in alignment with your blueprint for your life, right? So the judgment, that spiritual plan that you've created before you even incarnated into planet Earth. You know, are you walking the path that you're meant to? Have you exercised as many choices in your life to be in alignment with, you know, the higher self, with your higher plan that you've come up through? If not, and you can answer that for yourself by listening to your heart and asking yourself when touching your heart even, which is obviously the bridge, I mentioned this a lot of time, bridge between the spiritual body and the physical body. Touch your heart and get the answers and the responses that you need. For those of you, many of you will be like, yep, I'm aligned, I can pass the deathbed test easily, I am feeling the joy, the happiness in my group, in my community, life is amazing, you know, birds are chirping, the sun is shining great, and I feel like, yep, from a lifetime perspective, I'm great, I'm on my path, time is not wasted, I see it as a beauty, I see it as an honor, you know, to be living on planet Earth. It's, you know, a fantastic experience. Or you might be thinking the opposite of that, right? Whatever your response might be. And if so, maybe it's time to, you know, your spirits or your angels are trying to get your attention, your higher self is trying to get your attention to align yourself to your own life path and your purpose as well, with purpose in life. Alright, I'm drawn to go straight into the middle for this next point, which is the Six of Pentacles, as clarified by the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, that's right. And so the Four of Pentacles, it's all about like interconnections. And specifically on this card, we've got multiple symbols of 8, multiple symbols of infinity on this card. They're just kind of, each one of those strings is sort of touching the other pentacle. And I think this is a reminder of this universal law I speak a lot of, about one web of connections. We're all connected. We all have touch points to one another, even though we might not like physically feel it all the time or sense it or whatever. And but because we're all eternal and we're all part of energy, there's energy all throughout, and we're all connected, kind of like this. And what am I with the concept of time? Oh yeah, so it's clarifying Six of Pentacles, which is about that balance, about giving and receiving energy as well. You know, being generous with whatever it is you might have, give others the same. It's an equalizer. Time is an equalizer. And I do wonder whether this is just a reminder with the Four of Pentacles, exactly that it's for stability, as I mentioned before, equalizer. We're all connected, and all individuals are kind of equal, you know, we're all connected, we're all spiritual beings, and we all get the same kind of concept of time. I hope I've made it probably as clear as I can, but I might come back to it if not. Alright, yeah. Then we've got the Three of Cups is being clarified by the Magician. Look at that, we've got another number 8 here on this cheetah. I think it's a cheetah. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I've got another 8 right here. So infinity, eternal beings, time, limitless, infinite. And I love the Magician here because it's the number 1 in the Major Arcana Tarot. And you can see he's got all the elements, the swords, the pentacles, the cups, and the wands in front of him, and it's all about, you know, being skillful, being resourceful. And so yeah, perhaps time is a resource. You can think of it as a resource, as a tool, and it's here by design on planet Earth for us to learn and have a variety of experiences. But also with these four in front of you, it's kind of like, well, which one will you which of the elements, the sword, the pentacles, the cups, or the wands, will you go for? What freedom of choice would you exercise? What would you pick? And it's kind of going back to that idea about day to day exercising your freedom of choice. What are you going to be drawn to? What are you going to be using? If you could only pick one, what would you choose? And if you could pick them all, what would you create? Would you use it for practice love or not? Would you use, the sword, as I was mentioning before, justice, your intellect and your words to practice love, or to do some self-reflection in order to create more balance in your life? Would you do that, or would you use the sword as a weapon? And you use your mind and your words, for instance, to belittle somebody, or not say nice words, or not wish nice words towards another individual, just as an example, which would not really be practicing love, right? I mean, it's not the nicest thing to do, right? So it's up to you. What do you choose to do? What do you choose to manifest? What freedom of choice would you exercise when you are here on planet Earth? And likewise, it's clarifying the Three of Cups, and in this situation, each one of those individuals is holding a cup, sort of like, well, you've got all the resources that you have in front of you, and the big one of them is time. Which of the resources would you choose? Would you go for the cups, which is all about water, emotions, feelings, love, joy, happiness, in order to have more of these sort of Three of Cups moments of celebration and joy with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends, with your work colleagues? Would you manifest that into your life? Would you bring it about into your life? Would you, use the sword, use the intellect to use whatever you have at hand, and you have everything you need in front of you, in order to create more joy, more love, more happy moments, more time with your friends? Maybe it's time to go out and organize a few parties or barbecues on the weekend, or just some sort of celebration of whatever it is you got to celebrate, some special people in your life, or not. If this is a work-related thing, when was the last time you took your team out, or you organized an event to go out for some Friday night drinks or a social occasion, playing some bowling or golf or whatever it might be? Have some fun, enjoy yourself to the best of your ability. And if we go to the Four of Wands, which is clarified by the Wheel of Fortune, another major arcana, just to highlight, as I mentioned before, we've got 4 major arcanas clarifications here, which means significant. It means big energy, large energy. Kind of pay attention to this. The Wheel of Fortune, it's all about duality as well, day and night. When we're on planet Earth, time, you may feel like, strictly speaking, we've all got the same amount of time in our life, right? 24 hours in a day, strictly speaking. But some of you might feel like that's not enough, as if you're not getting enough, or a balance of the day and the night. But anyway, things turn, right? The Wheel of Fortune, it's all about tuning. Things shift. Everything is constantly in continuous movement. Exactly the same thing with, time, day by day, week by week, month by month, season by season. Things change, phases change, and it could be for the good or for the bad. Sometimes you can be at the top of your game, sometimes you'll be at the bottom of your game, and it depends how you perceive things, how you observe. So I see an owl on this picture, and so owls are all about observation, which is very similar to this Two of Wands. You're observing the world, you're observing your life. So maybe this is just another reminder about to observe. What is it that you do day and night? What do you do in one day in 24 hours? Do you feel like you're on top of the mountain, victorious, happy, joyful, full of love? Or do you feel like you're more towards, the rock bottom, right at the bottom, not feeling lucky or happy or joyful, and not having enough time at home, family, friends, joyful moments, celebrations? Yeah, so the other message that's coming through with the Death and the Wheel of Fortune here, it's just a reminder that you don't actually with certainty know what's going to happen, say tomorrow. The sun will come out tomorrow, great. I mean, that's a pretty certain thing there. But what I mean in your own life, you don't know what's going to happen. One day everything might be good, you're on top of the world. The next day completion might happen of a relationship, which might shake your world. As a death, there could be a physical death of yourself or your loved one, just as an example, a family member you haven't seen in a long time, or somebody you may have seen them, but there might be just sudden unexpected death in the family, and that will obviously rock your boat as well. So this is just a reminder that use your time wisely, I think it's more targeting as well family and friends. That's just what I'm picking up on. Make sure that you see the people that bring you joy and happiness and love, your soul tribe, as often as you can, because you never know when, death might come around. Literally the completion, the end of something. And it could be unexpected. That's what I'm trying to get here as well, is that the Wheel of Fortune could just spin really quickly. Literally within 24 hours as well, between the day and the night, which is depicted on that card. Here we go. Out of all these cards, I'm drawn to just read out the Four of Pentacles and the Daughter of Wands from the guidebook and see if there's anything else in terms of thinking love, speaking love, and doing love that we can do. Four of Pentacles, in order to help us take advantage of the concept of time. So here we go, Four of Pentacles, with the words of possession and control. Interesting. The Four of Pentacles first suggests material gain and stability. Only good news for your bank account and home. Yet, underneath the surface, this is a card of warning. Do not become possessive or controlling. Holding on too tightly to the material world will leave you rigid, stagnant, and displeasing to others. Wealth is a concept. Ooh, I like it. Interesting. And I like it how it's obviously, pentacles on pentacles, very earthly, very material. A lot of these cards normally would be talking about wealth, money, finances, but because we're talking about time as a concept, I like it how at the end it said good news, home, good, gain, stability, whatnot. But the warning is, remember, don't get too much caught up in this whole jazz, because wealth is a concept the same way time is a concept, right? Interesting. Very, very interesting. And yeah, so controlling, the other thing that comes to mind is we can be, and from a thinking love perspective, maybe it's be mindful of how much emphasis you put and control into scheduling your time, going from morning till night. I appreciate we all need routine, we need, stability and some kind of predictability in terms of how our days are going to come through, the meetings we're going to have, things we're going to get done, we want to feel that level of control. But sometimes, yeah, the warning here is holding on too tightly to that material world, the scheduling, thinking that you can control time, can get you rigid and stagnant, as in you might not have the flexibility that you need in order to deal with unexpected situations that pop up from time to time. I think that makes sense with the Wheel of Fortune and the Death that I was mentioning. Sometimes you think you're in control, you think how things are going to pan out, you mentally think that you are firm, your feet are firm on the ground, you know exactly what's going to happen, but the Wheel of Fortune can just turn and you might be on the other end very, very quickly, feeling upside down. And now the Daughter of Wands. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what the Daughter of Wands wants to mention to us. It is all about being a visionary and passionate. Oh, I like that. Visionary and passionate. The Daughter of Wands is a free spirit, a truly visionary creature. She usually waits until later to settle down or start a family, as she's busy with her career. She can be stubborn and much stronger than she looks. As with all the Wands family, this daughter makes a dangerous enemy. This card can also represent a woman going through a transformation or spiritual breakthrough. Well, there you go, my lovely souls. I think there's a few things that are coming through from this Daughter of Wands. One is about, what season of life you're in. You might be more about a, sort of separating your life into seasons or phases, focusing first on career, growth and money, stability, then starting a family. Likewise, there are some of you might be other way around, or having something else start first and then moving on to the next thing, the next season of your life, whatever that might be with you. So it's that point of scheduling on or having like long-term visions, long-term phases of your lifetime. But then the other bit here, it's all about perhaps a transformation or spiritual breakthrough, which can actually be, I like it, transformation. So the Daughter of Wands came in between the Death card and the Judgment, and that's exactly what both mean. Death, transformation, endings, and then Judgment is spiritual. Spiritual, we talked about the life plan, your birth plan, your blueprint, spiritual breakthrough, perhaps, you know. Look at this bird literally breaking through from the bottom and flying up into the light. That might be something that you resonate with. So obviously a lot to think about, you know, so maybe part of thinking love is to think about some of these messages that have come through, both in part 1 and clarified in part 2 about the concept of time, speaking love. Look, I'm most drawn by this holistic message to the group setting. You know, yes, we are all individuals and we're kind of standalone when it comes to planet Earth environment and experience that we've chosen to ourselves, for ourselves, but inherently we are all spirits, you know, loving souls, and I think there is great beauty in us coming together as a group, as a collective, as a community, in order to practice more love together, share in the joy, celebrate achievements and milestones, celebrating life together, seeing what we have co-created together, what we have manifested together, the freedom of choice that we have exercised, hopefully for the better, to practice love, and as a result, celebrate that together. And we can do that on an infinite, next message is all about infinity, time, you know, that number 8, infinite. Strictly speaking, there is no time. Everything is in the now. We're infinite beings, and there is no concept of time per se. It's just a planet Earth concept by design. It's a concept. And it helps our society be organized, right? And what else? But yeah, the deathbeds, you know, the spiritual nature of this thing. And just remember, things can happen unexpectedly, despite you thinking that you're in control and that you are sort of on top of your game, on top of your calendar, on top of your schedule, on top of your, you know, life and what that's going to pan out like. Sometimes things just happen. But hey, if you do find yourself in that situation, what we talk about on this channel is about practicing love. Sort of any choice you get, any circumstance that presents yourself, you know, including the difficult ones like physical death or ending of a relationship, some kind of metamorphosis or spiritual breakthrough that really changes your values and principles or whatever it might be, whatever the situation in your life or any point in your season of your life, in your phase, can't go wrong if you act from your heart and you practice love, right? Think love, speak with your loved ones, speak with the community, speak love to others, and do love. And there's a way of myriad of practical ways you can show love to others. And I sincerely encourage you to do so. Alright, your team. On that note, let's wrap up part 2. I'm going to get into part 3. Well, I'll just get a few more oracle cards this time around, since we've got a lot of tarot here on our table. Click on the link down below for part 3, and I'll see you shortly.